business not only allows us to pursue our passions, but it also allows us to be more in control of our time.
Yes.
But, before you make that big decision, moms, listen up. Because today, our guest knows exactly the risks and challenges of transitioning from employee to entrepreneur.
That is right. So here with us today is a friend of ours, Ginger Arboleda, mom to 2 years old, Zika, right? Did I get the name right?
Yes.
Zika. It's a pretty unique name, and she is also the general manager of her own business, Manila Workshops. Hi, Ginger.
Hi, Rika. Hi, Cheska.
Hi, Ginger.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for visiting us here because
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that a lot of moms are really thinking about starting their own business.
Yes.
But before that, I want to ask, so you came from the banking industry and you
Yes.
actually had a great career there. What made you take that leap?
In 2009, I got married. In 2010, I had my first baby. I was actually pregnant, but I lost the child. And yes, I had some other complications after I lost the baby. I had to undergo chemotherapy. Yeah, so I know I haven't been telling a lot of people about that, but I think it's about time that I told them because it actually was a turning point. I was thinking of already something that I needed to do in this world to help people. So what I thought of was really helping others become entrepreneurs. So in 2012, when I found out that I was again pregnant, I took the leap. So I decided to resign from my work, and then I started Manila Workshops to help others.
Okay, so you've designed an entrepreneurship program that is called Love the Leap.
Yes.
I want to know more about that.
I just started Love the Leap last December. So I ran two runs pa lang of the program. For Love the Leap, it's a 3-session workshop wherein the individual, where I take them through the gruesome process of developing a business plan and a marketing plan. So at the end of 3 sessions, you have to have a tangible business plan and a tangible marketing plan so that you can implement your business.
Okay.
So that's what Love the Leap is about.
What are the necessary preparations before they take the leap?
They have to check first with the husband, diba? Kasi a big part of it is really that you have to have the support of your husband, especially, and your family.
Okay.
There are a lot of times when you want to give up, and the only person that you can actually turn to would be your husband or your family. And an important thing also is that you should have what I call a parachute fund. A parachute fund is something that you can turn to, for example, during that duration wherein you still don't have when you still haven't reached your ROI or return on investment.
Okay.
So normally for a business, it takes you at least a year before you can actually earn that steady income stream. So
Yeah,
these are some of the things that they need to think about.
I like that term, ano? Before you jump, make sure that you have your parachute on.
Yes, that's true. That's
and
true.
it's part of, it seems like, your capital, right? Which is for every business, dapat may capital ka naman talaga.
Yes, capital plus pa.
Yes. Like, let's say a mom is interested and she's a different mom from all the others. How does she know what kind of business to pursue?
Okay, for me, there are 3 things that she needs to know and to have. Okay, one is, of course, passion. We all know that. A lot of people that I've interviewed in my blog, when I ask them, so what made you really parang take that leap into entrepreneurship? They always mention that as the number one thing, passion. Number 2 is skill. Of course, if you want to do something but you don't know how to do it, then that would probably take more time, diba? To do that particular thing because you have to learn about it, you have to read about it, so you have to have that skill. And third, you should think that it should be sustainable and it should give you the returns that you want, financially, I mean. Okay.
I like this list kasi it allows you to dream but also to be practical at the same time.
Yes, of course. Kasi I've met a lot of mompreneurs or aspiring mompreneurs and they say na, hey, I want to do this, pero nahihiya akong sumingil. Kasi especially my first customers, right, parang would be my friends. So how do I charge them? But then, come to think of it, if you really have that dream in mind and if you want to pursue it, you need to have funds to sustain it. That's what I always tell them.
So like, let's say I want to start a business. I did my homework. I know my market. I have my parachute fund. I consulted my husband.
Yes.
Everything. But, okay, so I have my business already. how do I sustain that?
Well, okay, the most important part is you should have a business plan. I think we failed to mention that a while ago.
Okay.
But the business plan really has to have everything there already, from projections to
yeah.
marketing strategy
Study of
to,
everything.
to studying your competitors even, direct and indirect. So everything has to be there. So if you want to sustain a business, you have to look at it at the long term.
Right.
Like where do you want to bring this business?
Yeah.
So if, for example, you know that in the future you'd be a learning hub, for example, like Manila Workshops,
Okay.
how do you materialize that, diba? So you look you look at outsourcing to other people, you look at developing a franchise model probably, you look at connecting with other people who would do something for that business. So it's all about the plan that you created in the beginning, and then you adjust and adjust and adjust until you come up with how it is right now, how it is today.
I'm sure most people would say that, you know, because they're earning a certain amount of money, so it's easy to set aside.
Yes.
But you know what the saying goes, earlier we were talking about it, they say that you have to have a lot of money to start a business. Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
No,
What's your
that's
take
not
on that?
true.
Yes.
Yeah, I get that a lot. A lot
Yeah.
of people email me na parang, I don't have fun. So,
Yeah.
how do I start? Mabuti pa yung, we were saying, diba,
Yeah.
mabuti pa if you have a lot of money, you can just start
Easier.
whatever.
Exactly.
But that's not true. It's all about knowing your strengths as a person. That's what I've come to realize talking to a lot of mompreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs, even
Yeah.
not moms. But, and it's about utilizing that strength that you
Right.
have. with their
Actually, there's no
businesses.
excuse nowadays to say that you can't start anything because now everybody's open. And because
Yes.
of social media, there's
Yes.
so much ideas that you can come up with, you know?
Right.
Even starting your own YouTube account or doing all
That's
these
true.
things, you know?
That's true.
Even I experienced collaborating.
Yeah,
And now we're getting somewhere. So, you know, you just have to be confident, know your business plan,
Exactly.
and you know,
Yeah.
find out what
Exactly.
your strengths
And
are.
I
really.
think also, aside from your strengths, is knowing what your assets are. And assets are not exactly just the money involved,
Exactly.
right? So
That's
even
true.
you, like what I'm getting from you is that you have a lot of connections. And that is part of your capital.
Yes.
You actually have human beings
That's
as your
true.
resource
Yes.
people as well.
Abilidad
It's called,
lang talaga.
yeah,
yun.
social capital.
Kaya
Exactly.
kailangan ng kapal na mukha. Ay, dahil joke lang.
But properly placed.
Yes, that is true. I wanna ask for your secret. How do you juggle being a mom? So your time for your daughter,
Okay.
then you have your home, your business, as well as your own self, your self-care.
Yes, it's all about scheduling. I have my Google Calendar with me all the time, and it's so funny because even on date nights, I ask my husband to send me a Google invite. So it's really like that. That's how I manage my schedule.
Note to my
yes,
husband.
You have
Kung
to
gusto
send
mo makipag-date sa akin, send me an
a
invite
Google
on Google
invite.
Calendar.
Yes, he was laughing actually when I first implemented that scheme. But it really helps because you know
Yes, it does.
that at this particular time, I need to bring my daughter to school,
Yeah.
or my daughter has a doctor's appointment, or I have this meeting with another person. But the bottom line is the priority. Your priority should come first. So if you prioritize your family over all of these things, if your daughter has fever or something,
Right.
of course, tend to her first,
Of
and
course.
cancel all of the meetings that you set.
I wanna know how that benefits also your daughter.
Okay, well, my schedule is really flexible. So in terms of like spending more time with my daughter, I really do spend
Yes.
more time. But of course, during the onset, when I was still building the business, there were a lot of times when I won't be there. I wasn't there. So to all the mompreneurs who's watching this, I don't wanna burst your bubble and say, hey, you'll have a lot
All
of
the time.
all the
I
time.
love this. I actually like what you're saying, Ginger, because even if you burst the bubbles of those moms who are thinking that they'll have all the time in the world for their children, I'd like to say that whether you're an employee or your own business owner, there are seasons, and
Yes.
busy seasons call for more time at work
Exactly.
than being with your family. So I think it's in this show we also want to be truthful.
Yes,
naman.
of
We don't want
course,
to
of course.
sugarcoat.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, speaking of that and all the things that you're doing and handling all these businesses under you, how do you give time for yourself, like your self-care? How's that? And dating with your husband, time
Okay.
with your daughter.
Salon.
Yeah, every Friday night we go on date nights. So that's off limits to any meetings or even if I look at my phone, I shouldn't because he gives me that stare like drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for myself naman, I schedule at least once a month massages. And sometimes we go out of town because you know what, there are times when you get lost amongst all of these things.
Yeah.
Diba? So you really need time off to think of your business, think of your family, think of what you want for them in the future.
Any last words for all the mompreneur B
Okay.
out there who are watching?
I think one of the lessons that I've learned is really always continue to learn. Always
Okay.
strive to learn about something new. Try to read books, try to surf the internet. It's good that we have the internet right now,
Yeah.
right? And social media even, because a lot of these things about creating new businesses and the creativity involved
Opens new
comes from
opportunities.
being open
Sorry,
to
I
new
have to ask this.
opportunities. Yes.
One book that you will recommend if you want to
One
start a
book.
business.
Oh.
A must read.
I think I like David Back's Automatic Millionaire.
Okay, I'm
Because
gonna get
in
that.
the future, I want my business to run on its own. And I don't want to be there like really hands-on. But I want to be there just to oversee, and it constantly gives you, finances, right? So it's something that you should read.
Okay, thanks, Ginger.
Thank
We
you
want to
so
learn
much.
more, so
Thank
maybe next season we'll see you again.
Yes, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.